Welcome again to Quick Flicks. Today, we are going to break down a movie based on true events, full of love and emotions. Imagine raising a wolf and a lion together. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? But when reality strikes, their survival is anything but easy. The movie begins with a scene where circus people hunt a tigress that was feeding her cubs and separate one of the cubs from its mother. On the other side, we see Alma, who had been practicing for a piano competition for the past 10 years. She receives a call to attend her grandfather's funeral. She travels from New York to the island where her grandfather's friend, Joe, meets her. After her parents passed away, her grandfather was the only family she had, but now he was gone too. Meanwhile, the circus people were taking the tiger cub on a plane. Joe takes Alma to her grandfather's house and hands her his video camera before leaving. Alma plays the recordings and listens to everything her grandfather had to say. Her grandfather had befriended a beautiful white wolf. Due to a storm, the plane carrying the tiger cub crashes. Alma hears the noise but is unable to go outside. The next morning, Snow Wolf Eli's friend gets trapped in a net but somehow manages to escape. Alma sets out for a morning walk wearing her grandfather's jacket and carrying a knife. Meanwhile, Eli and his friend notice the cut net and move ahead. A short distance away, they see a snow wolf in the water, but they are unable to catch it. Alma also spots the same snow wolf whose body was tangled in a net attached to a wooden stick. Alma realizes that this is her grandfather's wolf. She first lets the wolf sniff her grandfather's jacket and then frees it using her knife. Meanwhile, the crashed plane had left the tiger cub trapped in its cage, which was stuck in a tree. The cub falls directly into an eagle's nest. On the way, Alma meets Eli and Charles. She assumes they are hunters, but Eli is actually a scientist searching for rare snow wolves to help increase their population. Alma spots the plane wreckage as an eagle swoops in to protect its nest. The tiger cub falls straight into Alma's arms. She takes it home. A while later, the snow wolf sneaks into Alma's house with her cub and hides under the table. Alma is surprised. Joe arrives and she tells him everything. Wildlife protection rangers discuss the plane crash and mention that the tiger cub might be there too. Alma keeps quiet. The hungry cub starts drinking milk from the snow wolf, who begins treating him as her own. The two cubs grow fond of each other and become inseparable friends. Alma decides to stay until her exams. Time passes and the cubs grow with the mother wolf's love and Alma's care. Eventually, Alma leaves for 2 days to take her exams in New York. She passes and gets selected for an orchestra in Los Angeles. One day, as Snow Wolf steps out, Eli and Charles spot her, sedate her, and attach a GPS tracker. After that day, the mother wolf is never seen again. Alma asks her friend for help in sending the lion cub to a shelter in South Africa, but when she calls, her friend says he can't take it. When she returns to the island house, she finds that the two brothers have completely changed the layout of the house, despite being quite scared. When their mother, the snow wolf, didn't return, Alma went to look for her, but couldn't find her. Seeing this, Alma started taking care of them herself because she loved them very much. At night, while Alma was sleeping in bed, both brothers entered her bedroom and started playing with her. In the morning, Joe came and asked Alma about it, and she told him everything. Alma was selected for a major orchestra in Los Angeles, but she didn't want to join. Her grandfather was also against circuses because they forced lions, tigers, and other animals into captivity for entertainment. Days passed and the two brothers grew up. Alma lovingly named them Mozart and Dreamer. Months passed, turning into years. Mozart and Dreamer had grown up quite a bit. Alma went with Joe to buy meat for them, but Joe was afraid of them. Seeing this, Joe, who was Alma's godfather, promised to talk to Alma every day via walkie-talkie so they could stay in touch. During the winter, Mozart and Dreamer spent their time playing outside while Alma prepared lunch for them. One day, while playing, Mozart and Dreamer wandered far away. A mother and daughter was sailing on a boat when the daughter spotted some flowers. She convinced her mother to let her go ashore and started picking flowers. Mozart and Dreamer saw them and ran toward them, but before they could reach them, the mother and daughter had already left. Alma saw all of this and ran to stop Mozart and Dreamer, but she tripped over a rock and fell. She hit her head badly and lost consciousness. Meanwhile, the little girl picked her flowers and happily left with her mother. Seeing Alma in this condition, Mozart and Dreamer ran to her. Mozart tried his best to wake her up, but she wouldn't move. Seeing this, the two brothers sat next to her to protect her, and night fell. The next morning, when Joe tried to contact Alma via walkie-talkie. He got no response. He immediately set out to find her. After searching for a long time, Joe finally spotted Mozart howling near Alma. Using binoculars, he saw Alma lying unconscious and called out to her, but she didn't respond. He quickly called the rangers, who arrived and took Mozart and Dreamer away while Alma was rushed to the hospital. The doctors said that if the two animals hadn't stayed beside her and provided her with their body heat, she wouldn't have survived in such cold temperatures. The rangers handed Dreamer over to Ellie at the Wildlife Protection Center, but Mozart was given to a circus owner. This was the same circus group that transported lion cubs by plane. Dreamer was taken to the circus, where a boy named Rafa, the son of the circus owner Ellen, played classical piano in front of him. As soon as Dreamer heard the music, he calmed down. But Rafa's father arrived and forcefully locked Dreamer away. To control Dreamer's anger, they injected him with sedatives and then beat him badly. When Alma regained consciousness, the first thing she did was ask Joe about Mozart and Dreamer. Joe told her everything. Hearing this, Alma's heart broke. After thinking for a long time, she escaped from the hospital and, with Joe's help, went straight to the Wildlife Protection Center. There, she received some crucial information from the ranger. She immediately called Ellie and found out that Mozart was happy among other wild animals. This news comforted Alma, but now she started searching for Dreamer. She began visiting every circus in search of Dreamer. Meanwhile, in the circus, Dreamer was being forced to act like a clown, making people laugh. But Rafa was deeply saddened to see all this. Days passed, and the circus owner, Ellen, made a lot of money using Dreamer and became quite famous. But Alma was still searching for him. One day, Ellen was transporting Dreamer in a truck because their next circus show was near Alma's hometown. As the circus truck passed by the animal center, Mozart saw his brother Dreamer trapped in a cage. He started digging a hole under the fence and began following the truck. Upon reaching the circus, Mozart tried to open the cage and rescue Dreamer, but failed. So he hid and waited for the circus staff to arrive. A little later, Ellen and his son came to transfer Dreamer to another cage. As soon as they opened the cage door, Mozart attacked Ellen and knocked him to the ground. Then he freed his brother Dreamer, and they both escape together. Both brothers reunite and feel immense joy. On the other hand, after listening to his friend's advice, Eli immediately calls Alma. Eli's friend had said that Mozart had gone to meet his mother, but Alma reveals that he didn't go to his mother, but rather to his brother Dreamer. The circus owner, along with his son, sets out to capture Dreamer. Meanwhile, Eli's friend Charles tracks the last GPS location and reaches the spot. Once there, he informs Eli, and both of them head straight to Alma's grandfather's private island. Upon arrival, they try to talk to Alma, but she gets angry and sends them away. Seeing Alma's anger, Charles leaves Eli behind and runs away. Eli, however, takes a boat to leave, but due to a lack of fuel, he is forced to return. With no other option, he goes back to Alma and apologizes. Alma forgives him. Eli then tells her about Mozart's last GPS location, confirming that the brothers are heading toward their home. This gives Alma some relief. As they pass through the city, they enter a store due to their hunger. Once inside, they knock over some things and begin eating their favorite meat. Seeing this, the security guard immediately sounds the alarm and informs the police. As both brothers run through the streets, people look at them in astonishment. The next morning, Alma and Eli set out to find Mozart and Dreamer. By this time, the police had also found out about the two brothers and set out into the forest with the intention of killing the wolf and the lion. Alan, too, hears this news on the radio and heads towards the forest with his son. During the search, Dreamer appears in front of Alan. Alan is just about to inject him with a sedative when Mozart arrives and attacks him. As a result, the injection is mistakenly given to Mozart, making him unconscious while Dreamer watches in silence. Alan's son removes Mozart's injection and GPS collar and gives him a medicine that will revive him within 10 minutes. Then, taking the GPS collar with them, they leave. Dreamer tries to lift his unconscious brother, but Mozart does not wake up. Meanwhile, Alma and Eli track the GPS collar and reach the circus owner. When they ask him about Dreamer, the owner lies, saying that they found the GPS collar lying on the way. However, Alan's kind-hearted son, Rafa, secretly steps out under the pretense of using the washroom and guides Alma and Eli to the right place. Even after reaching the location, they don't find Dreamer. Then the boy comes up with an idea to play classical music. As Dreamer loves it, Eli plays the music at full volume in his car, and soon Dreamer arrives following the sound. Seeing Dreamer, Alma feels overjoyed, and he then takes her to Mozart's location. Alma rushes back to tell Eli, but just then, Alan returns and demands his lion back. However, his son Rafa convinces him that what they did to Dreamer and the other animals in the circus was wrong. Rafa's words change Alan's heart. Shortly after, The police arrive and begin searching the jungle for Mozart and Dreamer. Seeing this, Alma quickly takes both brothers into a cave near a magical tree. The police chase them. Alma and the brothers reach the water's edge. To save his brother's life, Dreamer decides to sacrifice himself. He steps in front of the police so that Mozart and Alma can escape safely. As Alma and Mozart dive into the water, a gunshot is heard. Hearing this, Alma breaks down in tears as she had raised Dreamer since childhood. But to save his brother, Dreamer sacrificed himself. Mozart waits for his brother, and then suddenly a miracle happens. Dreamer emerges alive from the bushes. You must be wondering how Dreamer came back. In reality, Dreamer and Mozart's mother, the white wolf, sacrificed her own life to save her child. A mother's love is indeed extraordinary. Mozart, overjoyed to see his brother, plays with him for a long time. In front of everyone, Alma expresses in simple words that every animal has the right to live freely on this earth. She did what she felt was right. Friends, even today, in Canada, Mozart and Dreamer are real-life brothers. They love each other dearly, and as long as they are together, they will be cared for. So, how did you like this real-life stories movie? Alma could have done something else. She could have left the Mozart and Dreamer and joined an orchestra, but she didn't because she was good-hearted. Like her grandfather, she knew that if she handed them over to someone else, they would end up in a circus or a zoo. And with this incredible movie comes to an end.